Kilati! Shanda ball, shanda give it to her. And I don't really care what people say. I don't really watch what them gon' do. Still I gotta stick to my girls like glue, and I'm a lovely number 2. Hey, welcome back to my channel. I started to realize that I was accumulating quite a bit of book mail. I am on a book buying ban. However, I did not cancel any of my subscription boxes and some pre-orders. And because I'm on a book buying ban, I've been trying to ignore them and just leave them in a corner, and they've been piling up. So I think we should get a couple of them read. So I'm really excited for that. The first book that I'm actually really excited for is Tell Me What You Did by Carter Wilson. This actually just released. Publishing date was yesterday, January 28th. This is about a girl named Poe who hosts a true crime podcast. And basically what she does is she invites her guests to anonymously confess to crimes. Until one day, this dude who seems oddly familiar comes onto the show, and he admits to being the person who unalived her mom. Except that can't be true, because the person who unalived her mom was also unalived by Poe. So she normally deletes the footage and tries to put it out of her mind after the show comes out. But this time she's kind of forced to take a second look at this dude and is like, what's going on here? Because it's very personal. I picked up this book this morning for the first time, and I am less than 50 pages in, but this is like a quick read. The chapters are short and the font is really, really big. There also is 100 chapters in here, which is bananas, but I am excited to see what this book will bring. I don't think I've heard anyone really talking about this book. Actually, I can't remember how I came upon it. But I've also never heard of this author, Carter Wilson. So we will see if good things are to come. I will say when I first picked it up, the first 2 or 3 chapters, I was already like, I don't know, because the way they was kind of setting up the podcast, the rules of it, how she goes about getting these people on here, I just wasn't convinced. So essentially, she insists that they get on the podcast with their video on, kind of like a Zoom, but she doesn't air the video ever. She just kind of wants to see their faces to help her kind of process and get into the conversation. That kind of to me was a little bit unrealistic, because this show's gonna air and they have the opportunity to get caught by the Popo. Also, she's seen what they look like and can testify. It's just odd to me that that would be a choice, and that this is a best crime shows of the year type situation, and so many people are so eager to get on this. It just kind of took the believability out for me, but I'm feeling that there must be some reason why she needs to see their faces. It's going to play into the plot. So I'm going to let it go. And then once I got a little bit further, a couple of chapters later, and I was able to kind of forget about that little detail, I will say that the author does a really good job of kind of setting the scene. I was literally just sitting and thinking about wow, I'm so happy that I'm not reading this book in the nighttime, because I definitely would have had nightmares. I mean, I'm just a scaredy cat in general, and I can't read thrillers or horror books in the nighttime because I'm always going to have nightmares. Sometimes even when I read them in the daytime. It is what it is. Either way, the vibes, the ambiance, it's doing its thing. So I'm hopeful that this is going to end well. Right now, there seems to be just 2 timelines. One is in the past 2 weeks when the person comes on the show and admits to unaliving her mom, and then the other timeline is 2 weeks later, and she is in front of some dude named Ian, and he's kind of recording her for her own podcast, which gives the insinuation that she's been caught. I don't really know. I guess only time will tell. I have my little spa headband because I think I'm gonna put like a face mask on and just like lay in bed and try and get through as much of this as possible. I'm so excited. It's gonna be great. When did I start to forget? I'm pretty deep in. I'm proud of myself. Still not really sure if I am enjoying this. It's like I find myself enjoying it, and then there's like certain things that take me out of the story. Like I'm in it and then I get kind of like and I think it's the dialogue. Like I feel like the things that these characters say just don't feel like things that people say. And granted, we're talking about unaliving people, and that's not something that I typically talk about on a day-to-day basis. However, there is this like QR code, boom chakalaka, and you scan the code, and that was actually kind of a cool feature, I will say. I don't think I've ever seen that in a book. But basically what they did is they had like an actress like kind of act out the monologue of that character. It was very short, like not even a whole chapter. Sorry, I got like fixated on looking to see if there's more, but yeah, I see more. Anyways, having the actress read the monologue and watching it, like it also just felt like this is not how people talk. It almost solidified even more for me that the dialogue was kind of off. The characters, they say and do things that it's like kind of, how to explain, it's like to justify the things that they're about to do. So for example, one of the characters is forcing another character to explain something, and before she even starts, he's like, I need you to promise that you're gonna tell it to us like if you were there right now, like describe it in vivid detail. And then she goes into a book-like description of an event, and I'm just like, people don't talk like this. It just felt like he purposely asked her to say it like that so that the author could justify that she was going to describe the event like you would describe an event in a book, if that makes any sense at all. So like maybe 2 or 3 things have happened kind of like that just feel odd to me. No me gusta. The other thing about it is too, is like, so far, we're really just getting like a description of past events that we already know happened. So the only thing we're really getting here is just kind of like it was like, you find out in the beginning of the story, boom, this thing happens. And then as you go through the book, we're just kind of like rewinding and getting the story from the beginning to the end, which I know a lot of books do, but I don't know how to explain it. Like, it's like, there's no like, OMG, gasp, can't believe that happened moment, if you know what I mean. I feel like I'm complaining a lot. I will say though, it is a quick read. Like, I can't believe I'm at 153. I started this today. I've read 153 pages today. I can't tell you what else I have done though. If I had been reading all day, I probably could have finished this by now, but definitely didn't do that. And I also haven't accomplished anything. What an odd day. I think it's because my brainsicle has been just like, mental health, that was the word. My mental health has just been like down the toilet. Only thing I really did was go to the gym. Ah! Okay, let's do this. Kind of excited. I just got Under Lock and Key by Lana Ferguson in the mail. So I think that this is going to be my next read. This is essentially about a girl named Key. She goes back to Ireland to reconnect with her estranged family, and while she's there, she's kind of like looking into a mystery of like secrets that her dad has, and she meets Lachlan, Kiana and Lachlan, Under Lock and Key. Get it? Anyways, she meets Lachlan, and he also has some secrets, and they realize that the key to unlocking each other's secrets is the other person's secret, or something complicated like that. I'm really excited. It's giving the Loch Ness Monster vibes, and I can't wait for that. So I think I'm going to take this with me because I'm probably going to finish this very soon, and then I guess I'll have updates for both of these when I come back. Tu sonrisa, algo en tu cara me fascina. Okay, so actually, I missed the bus, which means I had an extra hour to sit here while I waited because I'm just going to take a cab. Crazy the difference that a cab and a bus takes. I read quite a bit of this book, actually. It's a pretty easy read, and I will say twice already she has got me with the plot twist, I want to say. I feel like I should have seen it coming. The first like big reveal, at least I should have seen it coming. The second one, I don't think like we were really like set up for it. It was really a surprise. Both of them 8. I'm excited. This book is actually pretty good, except for like the minor makeout session. The way that she described it was like gross. Literally gave me the ick. And they were just kissing. So I can't imagine how much I'm going to abhor the spice in this book. Anyways, I should probably not be focused on this because I haven't finished the other book, but I was just so curious. Also, how different is the dust jacket from like the book on the inside? But it's so cute though. It kind of gives like an old... Oh, it's the book from the book. I love when I do that. That's so fun. Look how cute that is. Okay, my cab is here. We gotta go. I don't talk like I used to. I don't know what song that is. Anyways, hopefully y'all can hear me well because there's definitely a Grammy watch party happening in my house right now. And I could not be bothered to get out of my bed because I was trying to get this book finished. And I succeeded because you know your girl always, I have to stop saying, all right, I'm gonna go finish this book now. I'm gonna go journal while I listen to this book now. I'm gonna go do this while I, whatever, because I never end up doing what I actually said I was gonna do. It's just making me a liar. Anyways, I did get this one finished just now. And I think I'm gonna end up giving this 3.5 stars. I think that the reason why, like, it was a good book, but the reason it lost star power, for lack of a better word, is because this is not the type of thriller mystery book where you are reading it, and as you're reading it, either the character gets little breadcrumbs and they're starting to figure out what's going on, or you as the reader are getting breadcrumbs and the character's confused. Like, none of those things are happening. You're not getting any hints. The character's not getting any hints. You're not any closer to figuring out the truth of what's going on until the very end, where it kind of gets revealed. I was a little bit annoyed at how like simple the resolution of this story was, and like how we got the answers. Like, are you joking me? It was just like a waiting game, basically. So that was kind of like the thing that made this book not as enjoyable, because it is a 415-page book. This is kind of a chunky monkey for a thriller. And you're really just going through these two timelines that are like 2 weeks apart from each other, and you're just slowly watching them like come together. And then at the end, when they come together, that's kind of like the climax. You kind of figure out what's going on, and everything ends pretty quickly and abruptly. So though I was like at the edge of my seat because I just needed to know what the answers were, the intrigue was definitely there. I wish that we had gotten a little bit more throughout the book. Is it worth reading? I don't know. I don't think this is a book that I would be like, oh my gosh, you have to read this book. But it was alright. Like, I had a good time. And now you would probably think that I would pick Under Loch and Key back up. But you know your girl loves a little chaos. And so I'm not going to do that. Even though I'm almost done, I have like less than half the book. Question mark. I think I can't do that because my book of the month is here, and this book that I chose is, oh, what's this? Fiction forward. A pamphlet, I guess. Is A Killing Cold by Kate Alice Marshall. I've kind of always wanted to read a Kate Alice Marshall book, but I've seen a lot of people posting about this book on Instagram and saying that they gave it either 4.5 or 5 stars. So now I'm really, really intrigued because it seems really popular. This book is about a girl named Theodora, and Theo basically meets this dude, Connor. They fall in love, and she goes to a isolated winter retreat called Idlewood. I'm assuming they come from money, and that's why their homes have names. So she's at Idlewood, and she encounters a picture of herself as a young child at Idlewood, but she doesn't have any recollection of ever having been here before or knowing these people, but it seems that she does because there's a picture of her. And then basically she says she has like barely any memories of her like early years in childhood and stuff like that, but as she's in this place and it's like feeling familiar, she's starting to kind of get small fragments of her memory back. And she starts getting these threatening messages saying stay away from Connor. And then she starts to see these like footsteps outside of the house, and she realizes that there's a secret that a dangerous secret that she holds, I think, and whoever's secret this is, they would do anything to keep it from coming out. Also, this color scheme, I'm living for it. Shall we, y'all? Let's do it. Oh, perfect. And it comes with a bookmark. Pause for dramatic effect. In the house in the woods, the girl waits for the monster to come. She crouches down, hiding as best she can, making herself small and quiet. She's good at that. She has to be. When the monster comes, you don't want to be noticed. You don't want to be found. We're going to a special place, the girl's mother told her not long ago, a forest. An enchanted wood, the girl said, and we're going to live in a castle and all your wishes will come true. That's right, her mother said and pulled her in tight. Everything is going to be better now. The door opens. The monster is here. When I do these like mood reading vlogs, it's always chaos because I always say I'm going to do one thing and then I don't do it. So you never know what you're going to get an update on. Anyways, I said I was going to read A Killing Cold, but I actually didn't start that book at all. I actually ended up finishing Under Loch and Key by Lana Ferguson. And this author, I just realized, is the author of Fake Mates, which I haven't read, but a lot of people talk about, and I would be curious to maybe read it after reading this one. Like, I thought this one was like kind of cute, actually. I just noticed and so distracted because the book has like these like little, I don't know if you could tell, like these little like shiny parts that make it look like there's water on the book, which is very cool. I'm so easily distracted, y'all. Anyways, I finished Under Lock and Key. This was a pretty easy and quick read. I'm gonna end up giving it 3.75 stars. I think that I really enjoyed how different this was from most romance books. They're like I would say that while the romance is a big part of the book, it's not necessarily like the central part. The central part of this book is the mystery around Key's family. Her dad, Duncan, used to talk all the time about how he saw and encountered the Loch Ness Monster. And so she's coming to Ireland and she's looking for a piece of her dad and kind of looking for the Loch Ness Monster and other things like that. And the story kind of centralizes around that. I will say that the reason I didn't give this 4 stars is because I feel like the romance was very centered on the spice. So initially they kind of don't like each other, and it could have been enemies to lovers. I guess you would call this book enemies to lovers if you really want to put a trope on it. The thing is, they go from enemies to in the bedroom, like that. And then they kind of develop their relationship after they've kind of did the deed a couple times. Then they start to realize like, oh, I actually like you as a person, and catch feelings, which I feel is very realistic, but I kind of hate that. I hate it so much. It just feels like the relationship is lust and not love. Granted, who am I to say? They do end up solving this whole thing together throughout the book, and so I guess they go through things together. I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced that it's love and not lust. It was fun though. It was fun to hear about the Loch Ness Monster. I was surprised by some of the reveals in here. And so the plot of this book really saves it for me. That being said, the resolution was kind of, it was squished in the very, very end of the book and was very quick, and also wasn't super like anything revolutionary, if you know what I mean. So I didn't like that so much either, but overall I enjoyed the vibes of this book, and I would definitely pick up another Lana Ferguson book. So this one is gonna get a 3.75 stars from me. And now we can start A Killing Cold. All right, Allie Hazelwood came out with a new book, so I had to take a quick pause to read that, but I'm back and I'm gonna hit A Killing Cold once again. I only got like 2 chapters in when I first picked it up, and so far I don't have any thoughts at all actually. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to take this out on a day in the town with me. And it's cold outside, so the title is just very fitting. And hopefully this one's going to be a good one because I've heard lots of really good things about it. I'm getting ready to see something I've never seen. I've made it to 200 pages into A Killing Cold. There's 289 pages, so I would say like 2/3 of the way into this book, pretty far. I'm a little bit frustrated because, I don't know, it's like not that big a deal, but essentially the main character, she supposedly doesn't remember events from her childhood, and these events play a big role in the story. But she was adopted at 4 years old, and she remembers from 4 years old on, but she doesn't remember prior to being 4 years old. And so the whole idea of this is that she's starting to get her memories back little by little, and things are being revealed to us. But I just keep like, I don't know if I'm rationalizing this in my head, but like, who remembers anything from before they were 4 years old? I don't. Am I missing something? Should I remember things from when I was 4 years old? And she talks about how, like, the therapist says that this is probably, like, repressed memories because something traumatic happened. And I'm just like, I don't think you remember things when you're 4 years old. At least, I don't know. Maybe because it's, like, a big event, as the therapist says. But, like, why would you assume that you remember things from that young? And it's not like these characters are young either. Like, they're not children. She's an adult. She is engaged to be married. What? Is it just me? Am I being unreasonable? That one little detail I'm, like, hyper fixated on. And I don't know if I'm being irrational about it or not. Otherwise, other than that, the book is pretty okay. I would say that it's, like, not a bad book, but not a great book either. There's nothing I can really pinpoint in the book to say that why it's not good. Yeah, I don't know. I feel that the main character, she makes some pretty big assumptions and kind of really sticks to that assumption throughout the entirety of the book. And I'm just like, girl, you can't just assume these things. Like, just because A happened doesn't mean it's related to B. Make it make sense. I don't know. I don't know where her head is at. I will say that I'm not on the edge of my seat or anything, but I am interested to, like, figure out who is sending her these text messages, although that's kind of starting to feel a little bit irrelevant because there's so many other things going on. It just doesn't really seem like the main priority in the story, which is annoying because it's the main priority in the summary, but I assume that we'll get some answers soon. And that's all I got. But I did get book mail, so should we open it? Oh, this was not what I was expecting to get at all. So I got my special edition of Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. Oh, they brought back the original name. What? This is so cute. Beautiful. It's really beautiful. I love the color scheme of the blue with the purple. Let's see. I remember that scene. Also a pretty big scene. I remember that too. Wow. The inside cover is also really, really pretty. Alternate dust jacket to match the rest of my Ali Hazelwood books. I don't think I screamed reading a book more than I screamed reading this book. I highly, highly, highly say go check out my Deep End reading vlog because I had a great time. Okay, and then we got one more package. These are my special editions of TJ Klune's books. So we have The House in the Cerulean Sea, In the Lives of Puppets, Somewhere Beyond the Sea, and Under the Whispering Door. Look at these bad boys. I don't know, I have to say I'm a little underwhelmed, to be honest. That's awkward. Alexa, what age is A Killing Cold by Kate Alice Marshall for?
According to an Alexa Answers contributor, there is no official age rating for this book. However, it contains mature themes, so parental discretion is advised.
This book is starting to piss me off. It's making me really mad. I enjoyed a large majority of the book, I'm not gonna lie. But now that we're starting to get some reveals, I think I mentioned before how the main character, she comes to these, like, conclusions that are literally just like her trying to put pieces together, and then she just decides that something is the truth.
And so then when another new piece of information comes to light, then that completely throws off her previous theory that she just decided was truth. And it's just is like giving me whiplash. It's very annoying. It's very frustrating. There's also like, I would say, too many reveals going on right now because, well, one, there's so many characters in this book that as I've been reading it, I've honestly been having to like remind myself, like, Nick, who's that? Oh, the uncle. Okay. Alexis, who's that? Oh, the sister. Okay. Like, I have to like recheck in my brain who the characters are because there's so many of them. It's a little hard to keep track of. And that could just be like a personal thing. But then you start to get information about all these people and you're kind of trying to sort and keep the information according to the right person. And then you just keep getting more and more reveals. It's just very mentally exhausting. I read for escapism, not to be confused. So I don't know, I'm a little bit upset that like this is like slowly going downhill. I would say it started at like a 4-star and we are definitely not there now. So anyways, I do only have 27 more pages left in this book, so hopefully tonight will be the night that I will fall for you over again. Don't make me change my mind. We'll see. Hello from my grandmother's balcony in the Dominican Republic. Oh, it feels so good to be in the warmth. And I actually finished A Killing Cold on the airplane ride here, which is perfect because I do not want to think about cold while I'm here. I've had enough of the winter. I've had enough of the snow, and I'm just so grateful to be in warm weather in my short sleeve shirt and not think about it. So I'm not going to think about cold after I speak about this book. Granted, I will say I did like the winter vibes. This is very much a good book to read in the winter time and to just kind of like, you know, if you're one of those people that likes to read books that match the season that you're in, I would say this is a good one for winter because there's a lot of talk of snow and stuff like that. The atmosphere is there. We got it. I will say that I'm a little torn about whether I'm giving this book 2.5 or 3 stars. Right now, I listed on my Goodreads as 3 stars because I did enjoy a large majority of the book. But I will say that towards the end, I realized like a character would start talking and I'm like, wait, who is that? Is that the uncle? Maybe? And I think I have like a general gist of who everyone is, but for the most part, like I really had to think about it in order to remember. I don't know if that was just me. Like there was quite a bit of characters, you know, and they're like introduced like pretty quickly. Subsequently, I'm forgetting English. Anyways, they are a lot of people in that family. And then there's a lot of like, this information was presented and you believe one thing, but then more information is presented and now you think something else. And so it does get confusing. And then you have to keep track of everyone's like storyline, everyone's like part that they play in what's going on, because even though, well, actually, I'm not going to say that because it's a spoiler, but basically you kind of have to keep track of everything that each character does and how it plays into the situation currently at hand, whether they are guilty or not. And yeah, so I found it a bit confusing, and at the end I just thought that she was like doing way too much. It was a lot. It was too much. So yeah, I don't know. I'm at 3 stars right now, but I may think about it a little bit more and bring it down to 2 stars, but it is what it is. Anyways, I think that's all we got for this video. I'm happy I've got a few recent releases under the bag because I'm really not trying to accumulate more books in my physical TBR. Right now, I think I have about 18 and it's gonna go up to 21 by the time I get home because I have my 3 book of the month books and my Illumicrate book, I think, arrived. So that's a little spooky. 18, 19, 21, 22. That's 22 books. And then I'm still waiting for my fairy loot, which will bring me to 24. Like, am I ever gonna get rid of my physical TBR? I need to, like, start reading books I own, and I need to, like, cool it with the subscription boxes. Like, it's the only way I'm gonna get this under control, because I started the year with 18. How am I up to 24? You know what I mean? Anyways, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, hit that like button. If you made it this far, leave me a snowflake emoji for killing cold. And if you want to join the family, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'll see you all when I see you next. Bye.